Hello, my name is John Hawley, and I am principal at the Center for Math and Science in Rock Island, Illinois.
I'm Ian Scott, principal at Thomas Jefferson in Milan, Illinois, and we are your MyRock podcast hosts.
MyRock celebrates what makes RIMSD 41 thrive. Each episode shares inspiring stories and insights from behind the scenes, sharing the heart of our schools.
The podcast also supports our 2030 strategic plan by fostering connections, building relationships, and strengthening communication within our district and our community.
Thank you to all the listeners who've joined us tonight. And remember to share, like, and subscribe where you get your podcasts.
If you're feeling generous, give us 5 stars. Tell a friend to give us a listen.
All right, how are you doing today, Mr. Hawley?
It's we've got one more day before the holiday break. I think it's a great day.
And we're going to get there. We're going to get there.
We are.
Yep. Well, today we have a special guest. John Campbell is with us. John, welcome to My Rock Podcast. We're so happy to have you today. We're going to get to know you over the course of the next few minutes or so, and looking forward to it. I know you're new to Rock Island and your role as the assistant principal at Rock Island High School, but if you could just fill us in on how you ended up here.
Okay. Kind of difficult to say, but just I decided to I needed a change. Coming from Denver, Colorado, Aurora, actually, that school district over there, and I was just looking for a change. Didn't have an exact place to be. I have no issues with just kind of traveling. I love going all over, so I decided to fill out an application here for Rock Island. Things settled down a little bit. Actually, totally forgot about it. Got a call a few months later asking me to come in for an interview, and I flew down, and really the rest is history for me.
Yeah. Well, I know that we've gotten to know you a little bit, just some prep for the podcast, and if you could, just how did you get into education? You've got a unique path in how you did get there, but if you could share that with us, that'd be great.
Okay. Well, I actually started in education in 2003. I wanted to coach football. That was it. What's the easiest way to be able to coach football, do something that I love, and teaching was it. So I started doing that, and after a few years, it's like how can I get a greater impact? So going from impacting the players on the football team to then the students in my classroom, and how can I expand that? So then I got my master's degree in educational leadership. Was able to get into administration at the high school level at first, just as almost like a resource teacher. Here it's considered a dean. Back then it was called administrative resource teacher. So got my start there, loved it. It was at the high school level initially, and again, I just kind of loved it, loved that path, and continued to pursue every opportunity I had there.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I know that the majority of that was done down in Florida.
Correct.
So how do you feel about our weather right now?
Let's not talk about it. It's ridiculous. And everyone's telling me it's going to be negative 40. Like, that's Arctic. That doesn't make any sense to me. So,
but us Midwesterners were like, look, once it gets past 0, you don't really feel the rest of it, right? It's just you're numb anyway.
That's it.
So.
That's it. So, yeah, my bill is going to be higher than I've ever seen it before. So we'll see by the end of this season what things will bring for me.
Well, I think you've experienced one of the rougher Decembers we've had in a long time.
Right.
I've heard that a lot,
yeah.
too.
Yeah. Well, maybe January and February will be a little bit better.
I don't know.
For your sake, we hope so.
I want it.
I know that your past, so you were talking about the education there, but there was a break in there. There was a change in your professional career that's pretty unique. Can you speak to that as well?
Yeah, so I was in administration for, I want to say maybe 3-4 years. One of my school resource officers was, we were talking to me and was like, why don't you, go into law enforcement, become a deputy down there in Tampa. I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. But after a while, an incident happened with the Trayvon Martin case. My son was around 11 or 12 at the time, and I wanted to I wanted to be in the know of what's going on with law enforcement in order to protect him when he's out there, riding his bike or just in the neighborhood. So I decided to, stop everything I'm doing with education and become a student, a first-year cadet at 36 years old.
Wow.
So it was pretty exciting, different because I was in the military, but getting yelled at again with training and stuff like that. But I mean, I loved it. I loved every moment of it. Eventually did DUI investigations and a few drug investigations as well. So that was probably the most fun I've had in my life in a while. But yeah, then I decided to go back into education after I actually started, a lot of my reports were the same thing over and over. I was like, now let me go back into education, see what I'm missing, and then, again, I'm still here.
Yep, absolutely. And did you see this podcast that we really try to inject as much positive, but you got to see a perspective from not only the educational side, kind of the prevention, but also the other side of things when you're in law enforcement, but also, looking at the positives through that. So you have a pretty unique perspective in how you see things. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I think I was definitely privileged to be an assistant principal prior to getting into law enforcement. And I think that helped the perspective as well, because now I know the types of students I may encounter when I'm on the street. And when I did encounter those kids, those young men and women, my approach was different, right? So it wasn't, you'll see the stories with law enforcement officers that either, are too aggressive or don't have a conversation with people. I was willing to have a conversation. Absolutely. Because I don't want to put that negativity on their lives. So I did as much as I could with that new role to really make a difference.
John, those are great comments and great stories. Thank you very much. I'm looking at this book that your mic is on, and I see this huge fire. And we've been fortunate to see the fire and the passion in some of the guests we've had on so far. And you're new to the district, but we can see there's fire there and passion because you have a lot of energy and you're bringing that fire that's on display every time I've seen you and I hear about you from people around the district. Talk to us about where that fire comes from to make a difference here in Rock Island.
Yeah. Well, I think it really starts with just my upbringing, just being able to constantly be around my coaches. My coaches lived in the neighborhood I lived in, from football to track. So it was always someone there making sure that I was doing what I was supposed to do. And staying up. Making sure my grades were well, making sure I got to school on time, making sure I ate. So it was, again, I think that adage, it takes a village. I was privileged enough to have a village with that. So, but that fire then pushed me on to, in every aspect of my life, whether it's coaching, being a teacher, being an administrator, being a law enforcement officer. I always have that perspective. So, and I think I take on what my coaches, gave me. So I am always a coach, right? So my biggest, joy is coming from being able to teach my students or teach my anybody I come in contact with, really, and just have an impact on them. So, and then with getting into law enforcement, I got the privilege to actually work with two former students. One was working with a neighboring police department. We actually were on a call together, and I didn't recognize him, but I got out of my car. He was already out, and he was like, "Hey, you Mr. Campbell? Are you Mr. Campbell?" I was like, yes, I am. I'm no longer Mr. Campbell. I mean, Deputy Campbell, but I'm like, how do you know me? I was like, he was on the, I forgot the name of it, but he was one of our students that was, he always had a passion for law enforcement. So in one of our high schools, Plant City High School, actually, he was a part of our Crime Watch team. And so he was always around, always kind of getting into things. So it turns out he became a law enforcement officer. So again, it was a pleasure to work with him. And the biggest impact, I think, was another student that I had worked with him for 4 years to get him on track, to get him to graduate. He actually made me a 4-foot-long paddle like Joe Clark, so I could walk around campus with this paddle on my shoulder.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. You know, and it had a quote. He put a quote on there from Martin Luther King. You know, essentially, you know, don't judge a person by I forgot the whole quote. I apologize, but essentially, judging by their character. So.
Yep.
But moving forward, he got into the Tampa Police Department, Sheriff Department down there in Tampa, and he was actually one of the 911 operators and put me on my first DUI call.
Oh, wow.
So that was special. I was like, I know this voice. And we switched. He was like, hey, you know, Deputy Campbell, can I talk to you? So we switched channels and we started talking. I was like, is this Terry? He's like, yeah, Mr. Campbell, hey, I finally made it. Yada, yada, yada. You know, he's like, hey, I went through high school. I graduated, of course. Went to college. I'm still in college, but now I'm doing this just to become a deputy in a couple of years. So, I mean, just telling that story in that moment, you know, brought tears to my eyes, because I think I know a lot of people work on, what am I doing this for? What am I going to get from this? And, you know, it's just that one or two students that actually do find that success and comes back to you, or even finds you and says, hey, it worked. Thank you for everything that you did. I mean, and that's it. And that's what keeps me going. You know, so every time that I step on that campus, my goal is to have an impact on one student, period. It may not be right now, it may not be today, but eventually I'm going to have an impact on that particular student. They're going to remember how Mr. Campbell did it. Now Mr. Campbell spoke to him. So that's the drive. That's the fire.
That's fantastic. I know. And probably the feeling that comes from a student who might not graduate, and knowing that he's graduating and he's thriving after that, and you had a role in that. Yeah, that gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
This is the first time I've told that story, and I didn't. You know, I'm tearing up now. I didn't tear up. So it always hits me. It always hits me. You know?
And what you're talking about, and there's a common thread throughout. You know what you're talking about. You started talking first about the coaches that you had that developed that relationship and poured into you, right? And you're doing that now, and it's all coming full circle again. And you would only hope that legacy would continue on with some of those individuals that you just mentioned in that story, and just continuing the positivity and the sharing, the skills that go into that. But it's all about relationship building, and you've been able to see some of that through some of the experiences that you've had. So very cool story. Very cool. Yep.
Relationships and connections are a huge part of our job and our roles here at Rock Island. I was just listening to another podcast by John Maxwell, who writes and speaks a lot about leadership. And he was talking about, like, the best things in life only happen because we have people that we're connected to help us, right? Your idea of the village. And even as adults, we rise because we have people supporting us. And so I'm wondering, who are the people that really have, either in the past, right? You've talked a little bit about your coaches and things like that, or here in Rock Island, you know, who's your team? Who are you connected with to make sure that you can have the impact you're desiring to have?
Well, and I think for my story, it is difficult. So I did have a village raising me, but for me, I've always been almost like a singleton. I love to just be alone, be by myself, you know. But with that said, I listen to everyone, you know. So it's difficult to say, you know, I still have this particular person on my team. I found joy and understanding in accepting what everyone has to say and learning from every aspect of that. So whether it's going to be positive, and I try to do that with teachers, I try to do that with aspiring administrators as well as students. You're going to learn something from everyone that you encounter. Right? It's what you decide to take from that. So it may be some negatives, it may be some positives, but all of that helps create that you, you know, eventually. So, you know, from my perspective, everyone that I've encountered that gave me a positive thing to take from is what I am now. Right, so it's my demeanor, it's how I go into work, it's how I respond to crisis, how I respond to joy. I mean, it's like I said, everyone is poured into me, and now coming into Rock Island, it's my first time ever in a small community. Like, for instance, I worked in Tampa, Hillsborough County Schools. At the time, was the 5th largest in the nation. Polk County Schools is also a huge district. But now coming here, I'm actually having conversations with people in the community, parents, pastors, teachers. Like, hey, we want the best for you. We're glad you're here. We want you to be impactful. We whatever you need, whatever we can help supply for you and the kids, we're here for you. And I think just the fact that I have that option right now, as someone I can say, hey, our kids are struggling with this. How can you help us? That's all I need right now. And that is now my village. I'm accepting. So it's I might be a visitor here, or they might be a visitor coming into my community, so to speak. But I am definitely taking something from everyone that comes in.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I think it is too. And actually, there was a quote. I'm going to direct quote one of our other guests, but and I think that's what you're kind of saying is, if you look for the positive, you'll find it.
Yeah.
And that's what you're saying. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that through those interactions. You take a little bit of that positivity and you build on each one of those, and then it becomes a little more powerful. And that's great.
Yeah.
That's what we need. As a district, as a school, as a community, looking for those positive pockets and just building off of them.
Yeah.
What do you got there, Ian?
So, last thing that I want to ask. This isn't something we've asked anybody else, but no, it's just something that it's actually a question that you and I have asked each other. And but who's someone that's better at something than you?
What?
It's a tough.
Who's someone that is better at something than me?
Yeah, and you respect that.
A lot of people. I mean,
Yeah, it's yep.
I give everybody credit. I give everybody credit for what they're able to do. I guess for me, I love the background. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
I love the background. I love to see how things function.
Yep.
I love to have a role in how things function. But the accolades, I don't, as long as it goes well.
Yep.
So, I mean, I would say a lot of people are better than me, but I do like the role of playing that, I guess, developer, in a way.
Yep.
I just like to put things in place. I like to see other people's success.
Yep.
So it's not so much about who's better than me, but who can I make better than anyone else.
And we talk about that quite a bit, systems and processes that we put in place within the schools and the district and setting those up and how those can be such a huge leverage point to success, and then setting those things up. So I definitely appreciate that too, because building the right system can make all the difference. It really can. So, John, thanks so much.
No problem.
I appreciate your time today. Lots of great insights. Thank you for sharing your story with us on our Mind Rock podcast. It was really, really great to get to know you today.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And once again, to our listeners and viewers, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share wherever you listen to your podcasts.
If you're feeling generous, give us 5 stars, please. Tell a friend to tune in.
And this has been another episode of My Rock Podcast. Have a great day.
Rock on.